Philippians chapter 1, verses 21 through 24. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. But if to live in the flesh, if this shall bring fruit from my work, then what shall I choose? I know not. But I am in a strait betwixt the two, having the desire to depart and be with Christ, for it is very far better, yet to abide in the flesh is more needful for your sake. I've been with many people in the final stages of their life as a pastor, and some move into eternity with peace and a desire to go, and these know that their eternal destiny will be with the Lord in heaven. And yet some, even with this assurance, often have a struggle. I was with one family in which the husband was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he fought to his last breath for life. And some would look at him and struggle at his struggle and think, well, perhaps he didn't have full assurance of eternal life, or perhaps it must have been weak, his faith. But I'm not so sure about that. Paul was in prison for preaching the gospel and awaiting trial, and his future really was uncertain. So he indicated truth. To me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Paul saw the silver lining on both sides of the equation. To live was to serve Christ on this earth, but to die meant living in heavenly paradise, which would be infinitely more comfortable for him. And in this passage, we might construe that his desires are somewhat conflicted, yet he is making a statement of fact. Whether on earth or in heaven, it would be good for him. And yet he stated, but I am in a strait betwixt the two. In other words, he cannot choose what would be better, life here or to pass on to be in heaven with the Lord. I believe that I can understand the fight for life that the man I spoke of previously waged. As he thought of leaving his wife and entering heaven, perhaps he was concerned about her well-being and the well-being of those that he loved and would leave behind. He most certainly wanted to care for them, and yet the promise of entering heaven without pain and the struggles that he was enduring must have also been desirable. Now, Paul was conflicted over the two, life and death, and I believe it is natural for every believer to be conflicted also. The conflict for believers are many. They may be conflicted over leaving their loved ones, understanding the sorrow that they will be experiencing upon their departure. Some who are healthy may look forward to heaven, but it is the journey of suffering they must go through to get there that they don't want to experience. Yet there are others like Paul who want to make a further impact for the kingdom here before departing this life, knowing that heaven even would be much better. So we all must realize this truth, and this is the big point. For us to live is to serve Christ, and that we should do while we're here, to the best of our ability, using the gifts and talents that we have. But we also must realize that to die is to be with the Lord in glory, and that is going to be infinitely better than our life here.